Okay, we're all set? Okay. One of the many Friday night concerts here. Steve Poltz is here joining us, and right in front of the stage. Steve, first off, welcome to Delta.
Thank you. Where am I?
Delta?
Delta. Oh, yeah.
Just
I'm in Delta.
this side of Surrey.
Okay.
So first off, have you been to Delta before?
I don't think so. How far is it from Vancouver?
As the crow flies, about 30 minutes.
Oh, so this is way easier. It's closer to get back to Seattle.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, just a bit north of the 49th. When we look back, you had said earlier on when you were talking and performing on stage, you grew up in Halifax as a youngster, going back, dating when you were born, 1960, February the 19th to be precise. So you've been around, right? So belated happy birthday to you. I should wish you that right now. But your younger careers growing up back there when you were just a youngster, what do you reflect back on then?
The nuns at Catholic school and how I was so scared of them and how they really would wrap my hand with a ruler, like take me into the paint room and just whack it. And I was constantly the kid cracking jokes and just like, I couldn't stop myself. I just couldn't help it. I was a class clown.
But you were obviously loved by everybody in the crowd?
Hopefully.
At what age did you eventually leave Halifax and move out?
Oh, when I was a toddler around first, second grade, something like that.
Why? Just family moved out?
Oh, my dad woke up one morning and there was snow, and he bashed his head, slipped in the snow, and said, "We're moving someplace warm." So he got out a map and looked and he said, "We're moving to Pasadena, California." So we moved down. So he drove us all across the country.
Well, I can't really blame you for that. You said your dad's in Windsor right now.
No, he's in Palm Springs.
You did live in Windsor, right?
Yeah.
When you reflect back in your time right there, we're listening to you saying about the Windsor area and stuff like that. Growing up in Southern Ontario at that time, did you reflect and do any or think about any Gordon Lightfoot music?
Well, I love Gordon Lightfoot, but I didn't grow up there. My dad did. So, but getting back to Gordo, oh my God, I love that guy. He's a national treasure. You know, he belongs to the world. He's as good as it gets. He and Bob Dylan.
Yeah, very much so. It's interesting. Years back, when I was a kid growing up back in Ontario, we actually went to a little place in Toronto called Yorkville at that time.
I know where that is.
It was called the Mouse Hole. Yeah, it's changed since the 60s, but that was where we used to go, and it was a place called the Mouse Hole. And we went in, and they said, okay, these two guys are performing. And we actually saw John Sebastian and Bob Dylan performing in a little coffee shop. And they said, one day they might be stars. And
you
look where they
saw
are
it?
now. Yeah, both of them. And it was just amazing. But
You don't understand. Bob Dylan's my idol.
I love Dylan. But when you get back and you talk about Lightfoot, look at the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald that he did. That got a lot of airplay.
It got tons. So did Sundown.
Yeah, very much, very much.
Yeah.
Oh, was that one the Black Day in July as well with the Detroit problems that they had?
That's crazy. Yeah. I love him.
You know, very much so. You ended up down in Pasadena. Your career's taken off. You performed with Jewel. How did that all come about?
Well, I met her in a coffee house called Java Joe's in San Diego. I was in a band called the Rugburns, and then we met and I just started writing songs together. It was pretty cool.
What was it like when you first met her? Were you like sort of mesmerized about the fact that, oh, gee, she's here and I'm meeting her for the first time?
No, she was just a barista in a coffee house making coffee for people. So she actually said to me, "I'm a huge fan of the Rugburns, my band." She said, "Do you know how I could get a career like yours and find places to play?" And I just went, I didn't know. You don't know what's going to happen. And I just said, find a coffee house, make it your own when nobody else plays yet, and play like every Thursday night and make it a habit. Just do a residency for like a year. And she took my advice and did that, which was cool. But she would have made it big no matter what. It's not like But then we wrote a couple songs together, and then she eventually got signed to Atlantic and sold 15 million records. It's crazy.
No kidding, careers take off in different strange ways. We listen to you perform on stage, the way you talk and interact with the audience stuff. Reminds me an awful lot of Arlo Guthrie playing when he performs too.
He's one of my heroes. Yeah, I know his daughters real well.
Is that where you got it from, or is this just something that you set out by yourself?
I didn't over-listen to him, but I've listened to Alice's Restaurant a lot, and so that's like the definitive rambling monologue. And I've always loved him. And I've listened to everything, so I'm kind of a part and parcel of all the stuff I listen to, like Steve Martin, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, and then John Prine, Bob Dylan, Gordon Lightfoot, and who did you just mention?
Arlo Guthrie.
Yeah, Arlo Guthrie. God, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
That other guy, yeah, he's fantastic. What's weird is I just saw Arlo about 2 months ago and met him. Just shook his hand real quick, but
You've traveled around. You've had a great career right now. Where do you see your career taking off to and going from here?
Well, hopefully I can just always stay healthy. That's what I care about because I travel so much and have a long career doing what I'm doing because I love this so much. Like, it's what I love to do. I was born to do it. I can't really do anything else.
Well, you got to do what you have to do and what you're going to be happy with. What else do you perform and what else do you play besides what we see tonight, the acoustic and the guitars?
Just the acoustic guitar and then that 4-string tenor guitar. That's it. I don't play piano or anything. I wish I did, but I don't.
Who was the one that first got you playing guitar?
I would say my Uncle Louis. He took me to see Julian Bream, this classical guitarist from London, at the Hollywood Bowl. And so I fell in love with classical guitar.
Just from there, it just
yeah,
took off
see,
and just
I was really impressionable. I think we moved from Canada when I was younger than first grade, and we would go back in the summers to Halifax. And since then, I've played, there's a club called the Carlton in Halifax. I think I've played it 38 times, which is a lot.
No kidding.
So I'm back in Halifax all the time because my uncle lives there, my Uncle Bernie, and then a couple aunts live there, and my mom's sister, Sylvia. So I always go back.
You've got to be impressed with the audience that you're seeing out here. I mean, they're very receptive to your style of music, which is nice considering all the music we get nowadays. What I call the headbanging music that we can't even listen to the lyrics and understand what they're saying.
Well, it's packed in here tonight. It's cool. Yeah,
it's really
I'm
cool.
grateful.
Now you're leaving here tomorrow and you're heading down to San Diego and performing down in San Diego. How did all that evolve?
My schedule is insane. If you look at it, I go to Australia every year, England, Scotland, Ireland, sometimes Wales, Australia, sometimes New Zealand, and all over the United States. So there's so many venues that if I wanted to, I would play 365 days of the year, but I'm starting to realize I'm human. I just started to realize it this week.
Amazing
it's
how
taken
that
that
works.
long at the age of 54, because I still think I'm 20.
You're only as old as you feel. When you talk about the influence, you sang earlier on about the fact of the Beatles' influence and stuff like that. You ever have a chance of either being up close or close enough to see the Beatles perform?
I never saw the Beatles perform, but I will tell you this. I was in New Zealand once on tour with Jewel, and we were at this beautiful hotel, like a Four Seasons or Ritz or something, and I was walking, and I was like, that guy looks familiar coming towards me. So he was awkwardly 10 paces behind where I was at as I got to the door. So I came to that weird point you sometimes come to where you go, am I at the point of if I let the door shut, is that rude? But I think like I'm far enough, so should I hold it open? I always am wondering when I get to that point. So I go, I'll leave it open. And I go, oh my God, that's George Harrison. And he just comes in. I just held the door and he goes, thank you very much. And I go, you're welcome. And that was as close as I got to George Harrison and to a Beatle. And that, I almost like, my heart was beating. It was crazy.
That's this time where you're looking and going, oh, I didn't know what to say. Your mind sort of stopped.
Yeah.
Ever have the wonder in your own mind where the world would be today as far as the music industry goes if John Lennon was still alive?
It's a good question because he was hitting his stride again. He was on the second comeback with that Double Fantasy record, and those songs were so good. It just kills me that he's gone. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. It took my breath away.
I was floored with that one. I was also floored when I heard that Elvis Presley died. Those were the two that really hit me hard as well.
Yeah, me too. I met Elvis when I was a kid, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
No kidding.
I got to hang out with him at an airport, so that was really cool.
You see music turning around today and evolving, going from one genre to another one. You listen to the music of the young kids, and ironically, I was at a place a couple days ago where it was the BC Senior Summer Games they were having, and the music they were playing was like by the Beach Boys and the Beatles, music that the older crowd could really understand. And now it's taken a complete turn where we have no idea what's going on with the music. Do you ever see it going back and reversing?
Well, I think out of any business out there, the music business has been leveled because when the digital age came over, it changed everything. And so we went from having like big record labels that were making so much money and CDs, and then music almost became free. Yeah. And people, the rules were rewritten, and there was almost a velvet rope mentality before where they would deem you worthy to record. Now anybody can record, put it up on YouTube or anywhere. So there's a lot of good music out there. You just have to look for it. Whereas before we had water cooler bands we would talk about where it would be like these big watershed moments too. we'd say, "Oh my gosh, the Beatles have a new record out," or "Stones have a new record out," or "Check out this thing," by Joni Mitchell. But then that all changed because now, if you just release a record, it doesn't get that much traction. It lasts for maybe a couple weeks, and then there's something else out. There's so much choice now with our smartphones and everything, with things we can do. We're updating our statuses. We're putting pictures up on Instagram. We're making tweets on Twitter. And there's so many records out there that it's kind of cool.
Well, I know you've had a full career and a real enlightening career in general. We watched you perform from outside, and the first thing that come to my mind, and I know my wife would be impressed for me saying this, the first thing I thought of when I saw you perform from outside with the hat was a vision of Matthew McConaughey playing in Magic Mike. Coming on stage at the first, and I know some people are going to go, "What's all that about?" But my wife does. She understands. I know you understand what I'm talking about. Well, the ladies do. But it's so funny. That's the first thing I thought of. I'm going, "Damn, you're a good clone for Matthew McConaughey."
I doubt
and that's
that.
a compliment. Just different paychecks. That's all. But you wish you had his. So you're going down to San Diego. Beyond that, how far are you going? How many dates do you perform in a year? Put it that way.
230 about.
That's a lot.
Yeah, always in different places. So I play tomorrow in San Diego, then LA on Sunday, and then Houston, Texas Tuesday, then San Antonio Wednesday, then Dallas Thursday with Loudon Wainwright the third. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm in Oklahoma City, then Tahlequah, Oklahoma, playing the River Jam Festival. And then I think Des Moines, Iowa, Eureka Springs, Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas. It just goes on every night. I mean, Chicago, Indianapolis. I've been to every state.
No kidding. Sounds like that Hank Snow. I've been around everywhere. That's no
Yeah,
kidding.
I love Hank Snow.
Now, as a Canadian, the one thing I've got to ask you is why is it you've only seen one hockey game with Wayne Gretzky play and not more than one? That I've got to ask you that, especially being a Canadian.
Because I'm a terrible person and I need to get more into hockey. And believe me, I'm a sports junkie. And I almost think if I have to follow another sport, I'm not going to have time to do anything because I follow so much about baseball. And like tonight, I'm really excited. The next 3 games, Dodgers-Giants rivalry. Right. Because my dad's a Dodgers fan, but my best friend is the third base coach for the Giants named Tim Flannery, and I know the manager really well, Bruce Bochy. But I live in San Diego, so I love the San Diego Padres. So Padres are out of it now, so it's going to be coming down to the Dodgers and the Giants for the NL West. Dodgers have a 2-game lead, so this is a game-changing weekend, but it's in San Francisco, which means San Francisco plays tough at home. However, the Dodgers pitching staff is so damn good with Hyun-Jin Ryu and Clayton Kershaw. Is amazing, like possible Cy Young Award winner for the second time. But I went to hockey and I saw the Kings play in Los Angeles with Gretzky, and my friend was very wealthy. He passed away. His name was Kevin McGraw, and he was from Brantford, Ontario, where Gretzky was from. Right. And so I sat right on the court side, they call it, and it was crazy. And Gretzky would skate by me, and after I left there, I said, I got to get more into hockey because it was so neat to see it down that close and hear him slam into the whatever that plastic glass is.
Plexiglass, yeah.
The plexiglass. And when the puck goes flying into it, it's like, holy crap, what a great game. So, yeah, I got to get more into it.
Well, at least you saw that. When you go down, you're watching any LA Dodgers games or whatever, and you're watching the games in San Diego down that neck of the woods. A little bit of tidbit for you, information. 2 players for the Seattle Mariners are actually from Canada. One is James Paxton from Delta. He's from Ladner. Whoa. The other one is Michael Saunders. He's actually from Victoria. He's an outfield right fielder. So both of them, they're Canadian content with those. And, of course, coming from North Delta, we've also got Jeff Francis. So, Steve, I want to thank you for doing this. All the best in your travels. And when you come on, if you can grace us with one little bit, the song that you perform with Jewel.
I'll do that,
If you don't mind, because we want to get a little bit of calm with that. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
a lot.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks, Steve.
Nice to meet you.